Hello everyone friends, this is Yang with you, and today we will discuss a very important topic, namely risk management and money management. I want to say right away that if you make even one mistake that I will talk about in the video today, you definitely won't be able to earn in the long run. This video will be very useful for beginners who are just starting their journey in trading, and for those who are not earning at least $1,000. Let's get started. And as I mentioned, today we will discuss the topic of risk and money management. And I immediately want to say the following. Recently, a large number of videos have appeared on YouTube, where, supposedly a trader, sits and shows how he turns $1 or $10 into very large sums. Well, for example, starting with $10. And after 6 profitable trades, he supposedly has more than $1,000 on his balance. I want to say right away, guys, this is impossible. Do not believe these videos under any circumstances. And if you really want to start earning, you need to follow the instructions that I will tell you about today. I have been trading for more than 6 years. I have personally gone through all of this myself. And there is also quite a large team now. And guys, as soon as they start following these rules, some breakthroughs begin to appear. Because we are in a negative expected value, and if our prediction turns out to be correct, we receive only 92% payout at best. That's why these rules need to be followed very precisely. Today, probably, we will open trades in the background, and I will tell you everything in detail. Let's look for the first situation, enter a trade, and move on to the first point. We turn on the 5-minute candles. Again, the guys will soon upload a video for you. I will explain how to trade correctly on OTC assets. Most likely, this will be next week. But in any case, there are already videos on this topic on the channel. Unfortunately, there aren't many situations right now. A pullback movement is starting, it grew back significantly. The RSI enters the working area. We switch to 1-minute candles, and we also see this pullback movement. Here, you can enter a down trade for $100. And let's immediately move on to the first rule. The first rule states that under no circumstances should you open trades if you are offered less than 70% payout. You can check the payout percentage in this section. Look, there are quite a few assets, and sometimes you find a good situation. And see that, for example, they offer 50% payout for it, and you want to work on it. Guys, I'll repeat, we are in a negative mathematical expectation, and these trades cannot be profitable in the long run. If you see a trader telling you, here's a good situation, let's work on it. And even if it miraculously closes in profit, do not believe it under any circumstances. I'll repeat, the lower boundary that we can consider is 70%. Again, even if we've done an excellent analysis and worked on the situation, there are still 20 to 40% that we unfortunately cannot influence. And no matter how good your analysis is, everything starts to hinge on mathematical expectation, because trading is inextricably linked with mathematics. I highly recommend you start a trader's notebook, write these rules down in it. So the first rule we write down is 70+%. I'll repeat, guys, this is very important. Guys, before we move on to the next situation, make sure to subscribe to the Telegram channel. As I mentioned, my videos are translated using a neural network, and the English channel is still small, but I'm sure it will soon reach the size of the large Russian channel. If you're interested, you can join our team and trade with us during trading sessions. I demonstrate a very good success rate. You'll also get access to a cool bot. Again, in this case, it sends everything in Russian, but there is already an adapted version for English. The success rate here is over 70% over the long term. And as you can see, the bot immediately indicates the probability of a trade closing in profit, 55%, 65%, 70%. And such situations really work out very well. So guys, as you can see, the situation is quite good. We bounced off the resistance zone, closed in profit, and earned $92. And let's look for the next situation together. And in the meantime, I'll tell you about the next point. We switch to 5-minute candles and see a similar picture. A bearish pattern which suggests that the price is most likely going to go lower. Here, we also enter for 3 minutes on a downward trend. On the 1-minute candles, this situation is confirmed. Most likely, we will go even lower now. The next rule states, the maximum percentage for the first trade that can be used is 1%. In my case, my deposit is $128,000, and I generally open trades for $100. That is 1/10 of a percent. In my case, it's even less because the deposit is over $100,000. So guys, the larger your balance, the smaller this amount should be. Obviously, if your balance is $50, you won't be able to open a trade for 1% of your capital. But in such a case, you can also open for $1, which would be 2%. And slowly go to $100, $200. And then gradually increase this amount. There's a very cool rule that I mentioned. The larger your deposit, the smaller the risk per trade should be. So in my case, I open the first trade. If it closes at a loss, I can open a hedge. I think many of you know what that is. Again, it's when you double the trade amount. And in the case where the first trade closes at a loss, but the second trade closes at a profit, you remain in profit. So, I open the first trade. If it's a loss, I open the second trade. If that's also a loss, I open the third trade. There are already 4 times the amount. And in this case, it all fits within 1% of my capital. That is, it's quite conservative. Many people like to break the rules, opening trades at 5, 10, heaven forbid 50 or even 100% of their capital. And it's clear that such trades cannot bring profit in the long run. And in any case, sooner or later, you'll end up with nothing. The next point, guys, is precisely about covering. I really hope that this translates well to the English channel. Look, many people like to use a large number of coverings. While you're a beginner, while you have the small balance, you should limit this number. Ideally, use no more than 2 or 3 coverings. The more coverings, the greater the risks. And when you're a beginner, there's an emotional sphere that influences you. Most likely, imperfect. Deals are also being opened. And because of this, you can also drain your deposit quite quickly. You must definitely keep an eye on this. And I hope that you are writing all this down in your notebook. As you can see, everything is relatively good with the second deal as well. It will close in 20 seconds. If we close in the plus, we'll earn 92 bucks. The next point, guys, is very important. In this case, it will be the last one. Before you sit down to trade, you must set a limit on losses. For example, my balance is $100. I sit down to trade and tell myself that if I lose $20, my trading ends because either the market is bad or emotions start to influence and I make bad trades. This plan will be individual for everyone. It's also advisable to make plans for profits. Well, for example, I earned $30 out of 100. Although, guys, it's quite aggressive. It's better to set smaller amounts. If I manage to achieve this, my trading ends at this point in time. For those who do not set these limits, yes, as you can see, we close with a profit after all. Briefly, the price lingered here. But that's not a problem. Those who do not set these limits eventually lose all their money because emotions start to take over. Sometimes it happens that the market is bad, and it's truly impossible to trade profitably. And as a result, you end up losing everything. You need to monitor this very closely, and not believe the nonsense you might see from other traders, where from $1 to $10 they make some very large sums. That's impossible. Trading is quite a long journey, but if you manage to master it, learn to trade, then in general you can draw an analogy with riding a bicycle. Once you learn to ride it, you can ride it for life. It's a similar situation with trading. I hope for your likes, support, comments. As I mentioned, YouTube has been quite actively cutting views. And my task is to create quality content for you. Your task is to give me a feedback. And I repeat, subscribe to the Telegram channel. The link is in the description. The link from the profile header, and the link is in the pinned comment. Alright guys, thank you all. Goodbye everyone.